Okay, today I want to show you how to make a mounting bracket for your radio here. I had bought a radio and I also forgot to order a mounting bracket with it as well too. So I looked in the box, I was like, oh goodness, getting ready to install my radio, and I realized I can't mount the bracket. I can't mount the radio because I don't have the mounting brackets. So I'm going to show you today on how to make a mounting bracket for your, this is a double DIN radio. Yours may be different if you have a single DIN. You may have to do something different. But today I'm going to show you how to make one on a double DIN car radio. The first thing is that you want to turn it on the side and you want to do your measurements first. So I'll grab my measuring tape here, and of course you want to measure from side to side and top to bottom. So I want to do my sides first. I want to do my top first, and the length of the radio from the top to the bottom it should be approximately 4 inches. And then yours may be different, but mine's from front to back is 6.5 inches. So of course I don't want to make it the whole mount, the whole frame of it, because it'll mess when I installed it. I don't want it too large. I want to make it a little bit smaller. So in one case, I probably want to go from the inner line here to this inner line here. So I want to do my measurements from there to this end right here. So it's approximately 3.5 inches. So, and I write that down. And from the length of here, because I notice I also had my frame, my black frame that goes around here to kind of like fill in the gaps when I install my radio. So I want to at least go a little bit past there. So that is at least approximately 5.5 inches. So you write that down. Now the next thing I do, I set this to the side, and I cut out a slab of or a piece of sheet metal and then once that I get that, do my measurements on here. I also drew up a template here, and my template here is that once I've done my measurements, on the length here and the length here, which is approximately 6 inches. So from here to here is 6 inches at least. 6 inches. And then from the top to the bottom is approximately 3.5. So 3.5. Okay. Then once I get that done, then I'm gonna take my sheet metal, and then I'm gonna place it on top of my template, on top of my sheet metal here. And then what I do first is that after I do that, I got my length and things like that. Make sure it's on that tight. I want to make sure I go at the top. Then I want to take my black magic marker, moving it around. Take my black magic marker. Now I want to do my holes. I punched in holes already on here, on my radio here, just to know that preset. So what you'll do is you take your template, put it on top of here, punch holes in there where the holes are drilled out for the screws. And you take that and then you put it on, place it on top of your sheet metal here, your template on top of the sheet metal here, and you just go ahead and just punch your holes in here where the holes will possibly be. So mine is right here, right here, right here, right here. Also, I'm gonna punch out some holes. Okay, you got my top holes as well too. But I'm gonna start right here. So now I'm gonna pause it right now, and then the next thing I'm gonna do is that I do want to cut out my sides. Cut the length of my sides here. Take my sheet metal and put it on top of here. That's 6 inches. All right, so I know I have to make my cuts here. As you can see, I gotta make my cuts right here, the cuts right here to actually match up 6 6 inches, and it should be 3 inches. So I'm gonna go ahead and do my cutting here, and I got my sheet metal cutters here, and I'm just gonna cut along here. Cut that off, and then I'm gonna cut the edges off here. I'm gonna do it down here a little bit too. Cut the edges off there. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and sand it down. I'll be right back. I'm going to pause it for a minute. I'm going to go ahead and sand it down so the edges won't be as rough, because I don't want to cut myself because it's sharp edges on here. So I'll be right back. Let me go ahead and do my cuts, and I'm going to go ahead and drill my holes, and I'll be right back. Okay, now that I have made my cutout of my from my template here, and then I went on ahead into the and I drilled my holes, and then I drilled my outer holes, which is going to mount to the outside of the radio, and this is going to mount to the side. So I take my radio, put it to the side, my holes line up. So now after I do that, set this to the side, and then this is my one that I've actually made. So what you're going to do next is that you're going to make sure you do your measurements for the outside bend of this. So I get my line here, and I'm going to go into the, I'm going to press it, I'm going to bend it later on, and it should bend like this. I made my preset holes just in case. I made some smaller holes just in case these wouldn't work. I can adjust them to the other holes. Drill these holes out bigger and just adjust it up and down. These holes, you might have to make some additional holes to make it. See what it's going to do? It's going to go on the side here. Let's take screws here, and you may have to use some flat washers, but in this case just gonna drill, put it in there just slightly. Okay, just put them in there for right now. And it goes in there like that. And then when you're mounting your radio, you might have to make some additional holes back here so you can slide back and forward to adjust it, because you don't want your radio out too far, you don't want it too far in. You want enough where it's adjustable, where you can reach the bottom buttons, and also if you have a CD player, you can push those buttons in there. If you have them all the way in, then it'd be harder to push those buttons. If you have it all the way out, then it'll look tacky. You don't want it to look tacky. You want it to look almost professional. So I'm going to adjust these later on when I go out there and just go out to my car and install it. So set that to the side. So, and that's pretty much what you have to do to make your mounting brackets, as I said, which is really fairly easy for me. Like I said, it didn't come with it, so I was making sure that I was going to at least try it some other way. And also, when you're mounting, you may have to use some washers. Sometimes you may have to use washers to hold it down, because if you make the holes bigger, you definitely have to use some washers to and put the screw in here to actually hold it down further. Okay, if you like this video, as I said, this is what I've done to actually since I didn't have a mounting bracket, so I decided I'll make a video on how to make a mounting bracket for your radio. As I said, this is for a double DIN. You can make yours for a single DIN, however the case may be. You may have to go back and you may mess up once or twice, but at least you have the concept of how to do it. Okay, thank you. If you like this video, please push the like button. All right.